Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our greatly and new TER Talk. Today we're having Visar as our one of the favorite podcast guests. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I know it's not going to be serious, but it's fun to be here and pleasure.
Okay, before we begin, I have some questions for like the icebreaker. So I will need either a short answer or a normal answer from you. Book or Netflix?
Book.
Okay. Do you prefer poetry or activism?
Oh, well, it's hard to choose, but poetry.
Poetry, okay. This is a very hard one. As my people know, Visari is from Jakova.
Yeah.
Jakova or Pristina?
Pristina.
Okay. Fair. A coffee in the morning or beer in the evening?
A beer in the evening, of course.
Beer during summertime.
A cold beer, it's a pleasure.
Perfect. And we will talk about this more later, but Visar is writing poetry and he's an amazing poet. So my question to you, sir, is writing during the morning or writing in the middle of the night?
Well, during the night is way better.
Okay. So here is another question. One perfect song or one very perfect campaign for changing?
Well, this is tricky. I think one perfect song which can have a lyric about perfect campaign changing.
That's smart. It was very creative. Very, very creative. Okay, I think we broke the ice a little bit. And I think we can start with the more fun podcast, get to know Visar a little bit more. So, Visar, as we mentioned, you are a poet, poem writer. If your life was a poem or like a title of a poem, what poem would it be?
Ooh, okay. Let's not make it that dark and difficult. It just will be like a young boy.
A young boy.
Yeah.
About a young boy, just a young boy?
Yeah, maybe because when I was a teenager, like I just started to be like a young boy, new to the philosophy and, to many concepts of, in literature and books and stuff like this. So that's how I used to call myself, just a young boy, new to this world.
That's a very, very smart to kind of see what poetry is like and what writing is like. So you are known as an activist and a poet. My question to you, sir, is which one gets you into more of a trouble?
Well, I think poetry. Actually, I will describe this briefly, because once during my studies in Hungary, I posted on Instagram a poem which, I didn't like society and stuff like that, and I was reported for a terrorist attack. So I think maybe poetry will get me into the trouble.
It was reported by.
I think probably by the Instagram, because in European Union, social media really have this. When you report a post or status something, it really goes to the institutions. In this case, my university.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't think poetry can be this trouble.
It was a very sensitive topic at that time.
Okay, fair enough. So, what is the most unexpected place where inspiration for a poem has ever struck you? Where do you think, for example, I know most writers during maybe walking or during a shower, they think of something.
Actually, now when you mention shower, yeah, of course, because during shower, it can happen of one of the moments. I don't want to sound bad to the audience, also sometimes when I'm drunk at night. But also when I take the bus from Jakova to Pristina, I don't have nothing to do, no internet, no data. So I just start thinking.
Oh, that's very cool. I don't know. In this podcast, we might bring that you are from Jakova a lot. You might be a pretty proud Jakovar, which I think you are from the last conversations we had.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be very localist and very proud to be to Jakova, but now like I'm trying to detach myself of this feeling, like because I feel myself more of belonging to a bigger community, bigger group, rather just like one city and to this kind of ideology.
But you just explained what you think about Jakova. So what do you think if Jakova could talk? What could Jakova say about you? What could Jakova say about the famous Visar?
I mean, I don't think I'm that famous or something, but like people who know me from Jakova just will say, because actually in Jakova is very important, like if you're coming from a very a good family, like with a family with
Right.
dignity
Yes.
and morals, that's a common thing. So that's what they will say to me, like, oh, Visar, the son of coming from this family, he's a great student with family with dignity. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Well, one more question for you is, what is one thing people assume about poets that is completely wrong?
Poet. Well. I mean, man. I think the most I just assume like poets can be just smartest in the world, knowing anything, I guess, and like just having an answer for anything. But no.
Do you think people could assume that poets are thinking outside of the box, are very creative, or do you think people will think of poets as someone who just doesn't align with their own thinking and they're like, no, poets, we don't deal with those?
Yeah, I think maybe they just also assume like to be a poet, you're very creative and like you just can create anything. Because, for example, sometimes it's like just when you ask a comedian, oh, please tell us a joke, is the same as a poet. So, I mean, for example, from my personal opinion, if someone just tell me, oh, write a poem about, I don't know, this topic, and they just expect you to write about that exactly. So, yeah.
It's very hard.
Yeah, of course. For example, like if you just can say like, okay, just write a topic about the summer, how hot it can be and happy the holidays, and you just not really related to that kind of topic, so you will be disappointed in them, I guess.
Fair enough. So, have you ever written a poem and then thought, maybe I shouldn't publish this?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of poems about that. I don't know if it's in general. I think just like some poems I wasn't really happy or satisfied with what I wrote.
Okay.
But also some poems like maybe because of people will be looking at them like, okay, this guy is so damn crazy, and I didn't publish it. But there are also some poems like really cross the line and still publish and receive critics or people's friends saying like maybe this poem should stay only in your notes.
How do you deal with critics? How do you deal with bad comments?
I mean, if it comes something like how can I change my style and how can I make it more way better in the way like how people can understand, perceive it, I really perceive it like more open to improve that way of writing. But if it came like, hey, this is a taboo because sometimes I write really dark poem or like maybe more as explicit writing style, I just was like, thank you. I mean, it's way of personal taste, personal preferences on poem and the way how we think and where we grow up. Of course, in Kosovo to write something about explicit or erotic poem is like kind of taboo. So of course I understand, but it didn't really affect me.
Okay, fair enough. Next question for you is, oh, this is a very good one. If you could have coffee with any poet, dead or alive, any activist or historical figure, who would it be and what would be your first question? You only get one question.
Ooh. Well, actually, I mean, when I was in Hungary, a friend of mine introduced me to a young poet. He died, killed himself, whatever.
Rest in peace.
Is Joseph Attila.
Okay.
I love him, and he was also like a revolutionary guy with his poem against towards the government and Europe. So I will just ask him a question about like what was like the moment or what made you to go against your own government and Europe that you start writing poems against it.
Can you tell us more about the author, the poet?
Yeah,
When
I mean,
was this?
I don't know much about him, but like for example, he was working at one of the university in Budapest,
Okay.
and he was fired from the job because he wrote poems actually about the government system, and he also have a poem about Europe, how the Europe having some standards or some things not really aligning with the reality and stuff like that. And that time when he was alive, so that's why he wasn't really. I mean, he was loved by the society. He ended up being a homeless and living under the bridge. Like imagine like being a professor and then coming to that life situation. So that's why I think when it comes to combine the activism and poetry, he comes to my mind because like me myself being a teacher and pedagogist, I can relate to him, and that's why he will be the only one asking question what made him to stand up and be against the system.
Well, that's very, very, very good, very beautiful. So you also mentioned you're an activist. Do you think you are an activist through poetry too?
Not really, because the poetry I write is more actually about myself, my feelings, and how I perceive the society. If we talk about mental health, then maybe it can relate to activism, what I stand about awareness about mental health. But like with as an activist, what I do is like two separated paths.
Okay, fair enough. So what was your most memorable activist moment that still makes you smile today and that still makes you kind of feel proud about yourself?
Well, actually, I can mention like two moments briefly. But before saying that, I don't see myself as a huge or a big activist. Like I did some big changes because everything I did, it was with colleagues together. So it's not like all my credits. And I started working with kids in Brekots, which is like a neighborhood with Roma and Egyptian kids and families. It's like a kind of ghetto, if I can say like that. And working there, it made me, for example, realize, of course, sometimes I didn't do a good job, but there were some days maybe these kids coming from families who had trouble, like financial and economics struggle. Making them smile during the day, it was for me a pleasure and a proud moment. And also when I was abroad, because in Kosovo often we are being discriminated and not really. Of course, there are moments when we are integrated and included, but in the end of the day, there will just sometimes someone say like a very offensive words towards you.
Right.
So that when I was abroad, I always took the chance to represent Kosovo as someone, a young guy, a young activist from Kosovo representing my country. So that was also one of the proudest moments.
Fair enough. Do you think working with kids is more of an activism, or do you think working with those Roma kids is more of a duty you have to do because you have to give back to your own community?
I think both of them. I think it's more an activism because as a teacher and also like when you just work with Roma kids and Egyptian and Ashkali, you just help, like you make them aware about their, not just about them rights, but also how to stand up about themselves, but also you remind them who they are, and they are equal to anyone else in Kosovo, and they have all the rights to feel themselves equal with everyone. So it's kind of an activism, because teaching is not just like transmitting a knowledge from point A to B,
Yeah, that is
but
very true,
but also
yes.
it's beyond the curricula. So you just like teach them about daily things, like daily knowledge in the life, how they perceive themselves, how they stand up for each other, and to raise their voices.
That's a very good point you made, because I also think teaching is not just from point A to point B.
Exactly.
The kids can teach you something too. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Also, for example, nowadays we have artificial intelligence and ChatGPT and other tools. So it's like easy, and also online university courses. But like the way how you teach them and how you make them think, it's beyond just like the books or the curricula itself.
Fair enough. I love that. Keep it up. If there was one movie about you, which famous actor or any famous person would play Visar Kukaqi?
I'm bad with the name of actress, and well, I'm huge fans of Friends, of TV show.
Okay, nice one. Very
So,
good choice.
I mean, I'm not that smart as Ross, the character, with dinosaurs and
Paleontology and everything.
exactly. But like himself, for example, like he really sometimes can be very childish as a
Yes.
character, and still be very serious at some certain points on his profession. So that's I can say about myself.
Fair enough. So, another question for you is, what is something that today's young people should fight for more passionately? Yeah, it's a hard one. There's
mean-
a lot of things, huh?
First of all, in this like nowadays, I mean, it's not that I didn't travel. It's not that I traveled that much, but like from that little experience I have, and also in Kosovo, I think just like first of all, like to stand for themselves, to know themselves, because sometimes you get in the crowd. For example, as an activist, you can stand up for some causes which you don't really understand, or which you are not really familiar with them, and you just, because it's crowd work, and you get involved with that. But I think to be alone, even if your opinion is like different from the others, I think that what you should fight and stand up for, to be yourself and to stand alone.
Fair enough. Do you think you had this one eureka moment? Do you think you had this one sentence or one advice that completely changed how you believe, or what completely changed the way you live? In simple terms, is there like one sentence that completely changed your life?
Well, I can maybe mention like just like when I was first time abroad, and the project coordinator just said like, from this day or after the project will be finished, you're not gonna see yourself in the same way in the mirror. So you're gonna see a different person in the mirror. So after the project was over, when the project ended, I really think of myself till now like this was in 2018, 2019. And when I think of myself now, it really changed. And this relates because when you get out of your country, get out of your comfort zone, like even if you're from your own city or
Right.
your neighborhood, you just change the perspective. You meet other cultures, different people with different backgrounds and different mindset, ideologies. So that makes to see different point of views. So you can maybe like agree or disagree, but you just connect the dots and make the calculation yourself. So that's when you don't. So the thing is just like when you're never gonna see yourself the same person in the mirror, like even like after a few minutes or like next day.
Okay, fair enough. What do you think in, let's say, 20, 30, maybe 40 years, how will the world, or maybe Kosovo or Pristina or Jakova, remember Visar?
I don't think I will be that very important to be remembered or something. Probably just same as now, maybe just like a great teacher, a great activist, and a funny guy. That's all.
A great teacher is something amazing to be remembered by, you know?
Yeah, I hope I will be fulfilling that.
Okay. One final question for you, sir, is if there was a museum about you in the future, which maybe it will be, what are the 3 things that museum would have?
Ooh, well. Probably the pictures of with friends, like in Kosovo and abroad. Maybe the notes I never published, and of course love letters.
Amazing. It was a very big pleasure to talk to you and get to know more of Visar. We have this one tradition. We get people to sign this panel, and I think Avni is gonna publish it after 100 podcasts. I think so. So
Yeah.
may you please.
Of course, it was
You
a
have
pleasure.
a pen over there.
Okay, yeah. It was a pleasure to be here with you, and I will try. Where is? Okay. So.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much again. Thank you, Visar. And if you have any social media or any websites that you publish your poems or anything, free shout out.
I mean, I just post them on my personal Instagram, not page, my Instagram profile, Visar Kukaqi, and that's it.
Okay.
So, but my account is like private for all the people who follow me and follow them.
Fair enough. Thank you so much, Visar. It was a great pleasure. Amazing. I loved it.